The Great Middle East Project, Endless War by Design. Title: Redrawing the Map with Blood. How Today's Wars Serve the Great Middle East Project. Introduction. The wars that have devastated the Middle East over the last 2 decades were never random. They were not reactions to terror, nor noble missions to spread democracy. They are the execution phase of a long-standing blueprint, the Great Middle East Project. Behind the facade of humanitarian slogans lies a brutal, cold-blooded strategy to dismantle sovereign nations, control energy routes, protect Israel's hegemony, and eliminate any regional powers that might resist the globalist order. This is not conspiracy theory. It is the logic of empire echoed in think tanks, military doctrines, and political speeches masked in diplomacy. These wars are not ending because they are not supposed to end. They are meant to restructure the region permanently, in favor of those who pull the strings from Washington, London, Tel Aviv, and financial nodes like the City of London and Wall Street. Origins of the project: redrawing the Middle East. The term Greater Middle East came into mainstream use during the George W. Bush era, but the idea predates it. The 1996 document, A Clean Break, a new strategy for securing the realm, written for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu by a team of neoconservatives, including Richard Perle and Douglas Feith, proposed the destruction of hostile Arab regimes through U.S.-led military campaigns. This doctrine would be echoed in the Project for the New American Century, PNAC, a neocon think tank that openly called for the U.S. to dominate the 21st century through preemptive war and regime change, especially in the Middle East. The tragic events of 9/11 gave them the new Pearl Harbor they needed. 2. 7 countries in 5 years, the Wesley Clark revelation. In 2007, General Wesley Clark revealed a classified Pentagon plan to topple the governments of 7 countries in 5 years: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. This was no coincidence. These were precisely the nations that resisted U.S. dominance, Israeli expansionism, or IMF economic enslavement. Iraq, 2003, destroyed under the false pretense of WMDs. Saddam Hussein was hanged, and the nation was split into sectarian chaos. Libya, 2011, Gaddafi, who dared to challenge the petrodollar with a gold-backed dinar, was lynched after a NATO bombing campaign. Syria, 2011, today targeted for regime change via foreign-backed jihadist proxies. When Assad didn't fall, the U.S. backed Kurdish militias to carve out a semi-state. Iran, on hold, isolated through sanctions and subject to covert sabotage, assassination campaigns, and now encirclement. These wars are not mistakes. They are deliberate acts of demolition. 3. The real brains. Who is behind it? The architects of the Great Middle East Project are not just American presidents or Israeli generals. They are transnational elites, organized through a web of influence. Think tanks like the Brookings Institution, Rand Corporation, and Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, write the doctrines. Military-industrial complex players like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman lobby for wars to sell weapons. Energy giants such as ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP push for access to oil fields and pipeline routes. Financial elites, including Rothschild-affiliated banks, the Federal Reserve, and Wall Street, fund and profit from chaos. The Israel lobby, e.g., AIPAC, ensures that U.S. foreign policy serves Israeli regional supremacy, often at the expense of American interests. This invisible web does not need flags or borders. It uses institutions, corporations, media, and war to remake the region in its image: fragmented, dependent, and perpetually unstable. 4. Ongoing and future wars, seeds of permanent division. Yemen is another testing ground. The U.S.-backed Saudi war, masked as a fight against Iranian influence, serves to block the rise of any independent Shiite entity and ensures control over Bab el-Mandeb, a vital oil shipping route. Lebanon is being economically strangled. Its collapse paves the way for either a civil war or foreign military intervention, both ideal for weakening Hezbollah and forcing normalization with Israel. Turkey, once considered a pillar of the project, turned rogue post, 2016 coup attempt. Its growing alliance with Russia, China, and the Turkic world now makes it a future target, through economic warfare, Kurdish separatist manipulation, or civil unrest. Iran remains the final prize. Sanctions, assassinations, and encirclement tactics continue to soften it for a potential future war, one that could ignite a regional inferno by design. The endgame, a new Sykes-Picot. The original Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916 divided the Ottoman Empire's lands between Britain and France. The Great Middle East Project is the 21st century version, a neo-colonial reordering of borders, identities, and sovereignties. This time, the map is being redrawn with drones, color revolutions, media psyops, and financial warfare. Iraq, Syria, and Libya are de facto partitioned. Kurdistan is being cultivated as a tool of fragmentation. Pan-Arabism, Pan-Islamism, and regional unity are dismantled. Israel is quietly expanding influence from the Nile to the Euphrates. Conclusion: war is the tool, chaos is the goal. The wars of the present, and those looming on the horizon, are not failures of diplomacy. They are the success of a long-term imperial doctrine designed to weaken, divide, and plunder. The Great Middle East Project is not about helping the region evolve. It's about ensuring it never rises independently again. This is not a clash of civilizations. It is the domination of civilization by a ruthless elite that thrives on ashes and confusion. Until this shadow empire is exposed and dismantled, the Middle East will remain a chessboard soaked in oil and blood.